Hey guys, I wanted to take a few minutes to talk through how I propose we do this Saturday session. Um, First, I want to talk about just quick thoughts on atmosphere. Um, I would like to, when we welcome folks in, when they come in, I would like to have a little music playing, and I'm happy to, get that going, supply that. And I might want to see us provide refreshments. We can do that in a number of ways. I'm willing to just bring something, to kind of grease that wheel, and I think it makes people feel welcome. So I'm willing to go spend 20 bucks on something. And we could do what other like coder dojos do, which is they kind of potluck it, where they let the parents actually bring stuff, and that becomes part of the meetup announcement. Bring something if you want, and that's the way a lot of them do it. So it becomes more of a community-driven thing. It's not like we have to order from Aramark and spend a lot of money. But I think maybe we could start that up, maybe providing refreshments and giving, and seeing if some of our folks, like that. Maybe over time, that will become a thing. Maybe not. Maybe it's not appropriate. But I would like to do that. I'll probably bring something to eat and something to drink this Saturday. So that's my comment on atmosphere. Another comment. When we were downstairs in the big rooms, it was a lot of setup time, and it was also a lot of emails, a lot of logistical emails that I had to send to people like facilities to do something with the partition wall between the two rooms, and then you have to go check on that partition wall the day before, and it was so much setup focus that for me it hasn't really been fun yet. I have yet to actually just enjoy doing the session. So my goal this Saturday is to actually enjoy doing the session, and my goal is also to sort of pull out my sort of camp counselor, slightly goofy, just fun personality. I promise I have that personality. So that's one of my other goals, is to actually enjoy what I'm doing, and try to think like a kid, like how would I make this interesting to them, that kind of thing. And I welcome any suggestions. So if you look at the Scratch lesson that I've linked in the email, take a look. Tell me where you think that you see some fun stuff, or some things I should emphasize, or maybe some things I should change in it. So those are my comments about atmosphere. I want to talk about moving people around and what rooms we're in. And again, this is just a draft of what we want to do. This is just a draft representation. This is what I propose right now on Sunday morning. And if you see some other way to change this, great. So I think that I'd like to see Scratch in Lab 204, and I'd like to see Java in Lab 205. Those two labs are right next to each other, and they have a window wall between them so you can actually see inside the other room. And then there's two doors. There's a door at the front of the lab and a door at the back. They're also glass window doors. We can open and close them during the sessions as needed. So maybe, yeah, well, that's all I'll say about that. So for Scratch, I know I would like to claim the first at least 2 rows of computers. That's 12 computers in the first 2 rows, maybe even the third row. So that's about 18 computers in the front, and the teacher station with the smartboard. And by the way, both labs have, I think, 28 or maybe 30 computers for users. They're PC computers. And then there's a teaching station with a smartboard. So both of those labs have that. So I'd like to claim that front area, meaning the back area is available. Chris may or may not want to claim some area of hers. She may want to use the smartboard. I would like to try to use the smartboard and get the kids' hands on it a little bit during the step-by-step of our, lesson or demo, the thing that we're building. And that smartboard could also be used for your competitive aspect that you guys were talking about. So that's just to give you an idea of where I see the labs being used. And I'll talk now about what I'd like to do to open uCode. To open uCode from about 1 to 110, I would like for us to, very friendly greet the kids and parents and have them, usher them into the PBL lab. So it's a lab, if I didn't mention this already, it's a lab a couple doors down, but you kind of have to go over a couple of bridges in the Ed Center. It's about a 40-second walk between the PBL lab and then the 2 labs where Scratch and Java will take place. And this idea, by the way, involves introducing Code Academy into this as a third session alternative, let's say. I propose that we spend the first 10 minutes in the PBL lab saying, hi, how are you doing? Just informal, light chit chat, music, food, refreshment. And then at 1:10, each of the session areas gets 90 seconds to use visuals on the big presentation wall and use visual backup to explain what it is that they're going to do in their session. And you want to make it sort of fun and enticing and interesting, that kind of thing. We could even sort of model some of that competitive, that sort of good-natured competitive spirit. Like, I want you in my session. You shouldn't go in her session because mine's going to rock so much more because of X, Y, and Z. I mean, we can sort of have that going on, if possible. Sometimes it's hard to plan one's sense of humor, right? So from about 1:10 then to 1:15, we're pitching our sessions. We're using visuals. We're pitching a Scratch session, a Java session, and if RJ and Adriana, you guys want to pitch a Code Academy session, which of course is a very open-ended thing because you can do all kinds of things in Code Academy, but I would say that's a worthy sort of session to pitch. You do that there as well. And then from there we tell them, okay, if you want to do Scratch, you go to Lab 204. We can have that on the wall on a PowerPoint slide. Scratch folks go to Lab 204, Java to 205. And here's where what I'm proposing is that the PBL folks, sorry, the Code Academy folks, at least initially stay in the PBL lab. And then that allows you guys, Adriana and RJ, to use the wall-sized presentation monitor to either show them one thing, like show them multiple things, you know, on that wall-sized monitor. You know, I would suggest maybe you go research what's in Code Academy, go play around with it ahead of time, figure out what the login situation is about, and go pick anywhere from 1 to 5 things you want to quickly feature to kind of show them things they could work on. Another thing, I drew this picture. Let me show you this. This is a picture of the PBL lab. So over here, we've got this black squiggly rectangle thing. That is the wall-sized monitor that I was talking about. And over here is the presentation machine is up here. And then the door is down here by station number 4. So you've got these stations here, 1 through 6. And they have about 4 to 6 chairs around them. And what they have is they're sort of a glass tabletop monitor right here, and they're all equipped with one PC computer. And these PC computers can also talk to the big main computer, and you can display things from these, but that's really not what I even have in mind. I don't have that in mind. But what I do have in mind is possibly borrowing from school's idea of centers or stations, because what we could do with presenting Code Academy and other things in uCode, we can do this in other sessions as well. We could use this trick. Is you actually present what it is you're doing at each station, and you let people go around in a certain amount of time. So maybe they get 2 minutes at this station, and here they learn about the Frozen challenge, the Frozen coding activity that a lot of kids were doing last month at Hour of Code. They're doing a Frozen thing. Maybe here they learn about JavaScript in Khan Academy. Maybe you, I don't know what you want to do. I haven't even investigated. Maybe here they learn about another Code Academy thing. And you would want to have one person, one sort of adult mentor type person, demoing. So you could have them explore those things around these stations, is what I'm saying. And you can, you know, at 3-minute intervals, say switch and go to the next one. So that's one way to quickly show them their options for what they're going to do. Sorry. Or you could just use the big, you know, wall thing and just talk to them and help them come up with a plan for what they want to explore today. Maybe quickly walk them through how they get their login, or discuss, maybe you make some logins ahead of time, for example. Maybe you'll have to do that. I don't know, because some of the kids may not have email addresses. I don't know how the logins work. I have a Code Academy login. I've just never used it, and I don't remember what I did. I probably used my email to establish that, but you just can't assume that all these kids are going to have that, and we can't really force them to get an email address. I think that'd be crossing the line. So it could be that we want to make like 10 uCode, Code Academy logins. So we got to think that through. So kind of talk to them. It may take, you know, maybe you could take from 5 to 15 minutes just to show them their options, let them play around a little bit, maybe use centers, like I said, if you want to. And then from there, you can go over to the Scratch and Java rooms, Lab 204 and 205, and y'all can either cluster in the back of the Scratch room or the back of the Java room, or maybe let them spread out in the back of both. I mean, whatever y'all want, however you want to do it. I know you're welcome to be in the Scratch session, but you know, throughout our Scratch session, I will be talking loudly, and I don't want to distract them if that distracts them. So another option, you know, if you don't want to be in the back of the Scratch and the Java rooms, might be to grab some laptops from the mobile laptop cart, which we will have, and set those up in Classroom 200, which gets us back into a little bit of the business of actually moving tables and chairs around a little bit, I think. But anyway, you don't have to move the tables, honestly. You could just have them in the rows they're in. But you could go use that classroom. That could be a separate Code Academy room, if that's what you prefer. You could also use the PBL lab, I guess. Honestly, that's 6 computer stations right there, and people could use those. My only fear about using the PBL lab generally is that we really have to go play with all of the things. We have to go test everything that we want to do in there. I mean, you should do that anyway when you teach. You should always test your equipment. But in that lab particularly, I find things to fail often, and batteries are often depleted on mobile keyboard, mobile keyboards and mobile mice, and things don't work. So if we use this to any extent, we need to be testing extensively as well, and have backup plans, have backup batteries, things like that. So that's my idea. Oh, and another thing, as for the competitive aspect, I welcome any feedback on how we might incorporate competition into the Scratch thing. I'm not really a competitive person when it comes to games. Like, I like games like Tetris, which I guess it's sort of competitive in a way, but it's like it's you putting blocks together and that sort of thing. I've never liked competitive games, and research suggests that sometimes females don't like competitive stuff as much as males, so it's something to think about. So I'm not good at it, but I welcome any advice, because competition is fun, even though I'm not totally into it. It's not the way I think in terms of designing lessons and things, but I need help with it, and it is fun. I mean, there's been many times in school where you're in competition, and it is fun. I think for most people, if it's done well. So any suggestions for that are great. I was thinking at 3 o'clock in the Scratch room, we can shift gears and do Finch robots. And so at that point, maybe in the Java session, if y'all are at a good stopping point or you're at a good resting point, you can send folks over and let them play with the Finch robots. All right, so that's it. I'm talking way too long now. But I had to talk it out because sometimes I get tired of emails, and I think, honestly, we might need to meet ahead of time. If we feel like we have a lot more to say, we should probably meet through GoToMeeting on like Wednesday night or something. All right, guys, thanks so much.